The supernatural secret beneath the temple in Jerusalem, the 3,000-year-old sealed scroll, and the prison of the fallen ones.
The algorithm is
when the mountain's foundations tremble, and a secret buried forever awakens. There are stories history has deliberately tried to bury. There are sites humanity is forbidden to touch, and there are secrets that, if opened, could cause the entire religious world to collapse. The temple in Jerusalem is one such place. For thousands of years, no one has been allowed to dig beneath it. No one has been allowed to measure the bedrock. No archaeology, no excavation, no imaging beneath the ground.
Chamber sealed inside
because no one dares to take responsibility if there is something below that was never meant to be awakened. And then in the 21st century, science did what history, religion, and empires never dared to do. They scanned the Earth itself. Ground-penetrating radar, AI reconstruction, structural analysis by algorithms, technologies that don't need shovels, don't need to break the stone floor. And on a winter night in 2024, the AI detected a structure that should not exist, an artificial space. No doors, no passageway down, completely sealed. Buried under layers of primordial rock so deep that it is impossible to have been built with ancient technology. But what truly sent a chill down the team's spine was not the room itself, not the architecture. It was a lead scroll at the center of the chamber carved with a warning, "Do not open." This is where the fallen ones sleep. The warden still stands guard. From here, the journey begins peeling back layers of geology, history, and mythology to piece together a truth humanity has tried not to look at for 3,000 years. AI sees through stone. The first time humans behold a stone arc room. The ground-penetrating radar GPR project was designed to map the subsurface strata of Jerusalem for seismic research. The team never imagined they were about to violate an ancient seal. Then, the screen displayed a perfectly curved line, a hollow pocket surrounded by thick basalt numbered angles so precise they could not be natural. No shaft leading down, no sediment seepage, no trace of Roman, Greek, or Persian interference. As if a room had been created before the temple was ever built, and then the temple platform was placed on top of it like a lid. What stunned the team most? The ancient rock around the chamber hadn't shifted even 1 millimeter in 3,000 years. There were only two possibilities. The chamber was built with technology beyond ancient human capability. It wasn't built at all. It was formed. When the AI reconstructed the deeper layers, it revealed how a square room, a rectangular room, and a narrow corridor, and a perfectly round chamber like a stone sphere hollowed out from within. In all of human history, no civilization 3,000 years ago knew how to create a perfectly spherical stone room like that. And everything became truly disturbing when the AI detected a standing stone at its center. The 3-meter standing stone. Not an altar, but a supernatural lock. In Near Eastern archaeology, a standing stone, a maseba, is not unfamiliar. But this one was different, almost 3 meters tall, smooth as if polished by laser. No chisel marks, no joints. Its surface coated with metal analysis showed mercury, lead, and antimony. These three substances were used in ancient rituals to bind spirits and seal supernatural entities, prevent a soul or presence from escaping. In Ugaritic texts, Baal is bound with antimony. In Babylonian tablets, rebellious Anunnaki are sealed with lead. In Hebrew tradition, the fallen ones are imprisoned beneath the earth with heavy metals. This standing stone is not a symbol. It is an instrument of restraint. A lock, a seal, a prison bar. One archaeologist whispered, "If this is a prison, then who is the prisoner?" No one answered. The corridor with no exit, architecture not made for humans. In ancient architecture, corridors always have a purpose for movement, for ventilation,
part
for
Hebrew,
ritual
part something
processions.
older.
But the corridor under the temple is nothing like that. Meshed so narrow a person couldn't stand upright, about 12 meters long, no
Part
entrance,
chills me.
no
It
exit,
shall not be
no
opened
shaft
before
connecting
the
it
end
with the
of
surface
days.
above. A corridor not meant to be walked,
When light
but to
reaches the
separate.
bottom, the seal will
Scholars
break.
call it ritual containment buffer, a buffer zone for ritual containment,
But
meaning
radar
it
is
wasn't built to be
literally
used.
light encoded
It was
into
built
the
to
ground.
isolate whatever is inside the round chamber, preventing it from spreading outwards.
Anciently Burtress.
The round room, a structure that should not exist 3,000 years
Ancient
ago.
fear colliding
The
with
AI
modern
used
technology.
seismic data to
We
reconstruct the
stopped
circular
simulation
chamber.
here. No further penetration
Gradually, the
modeling.
shape emerged. A perfect 360-degree circle, walls about
This
1.2
space feels
meters
like the
thick,
threshold between
a structure
heaven
with no visible
and the
joints,
underworld.
no fractures, no signs of traditional construction, no floor
For
bedding,
centuries, we
no
preserved
sagging
that
from the
ground
weight of
by
ages.
leaving it untouched.
The chamber looked as if it had been carved out of a single block of
Some
stone rather
structures
than
are
built.
not for us to open.
The walls bore no symbols, except for a single line of ancient Aramaic Hebrew.
If this is a divine
This is where the
seal,
warden stands.
tampering would be
When he
reckless.
departs, the seal shall fall. The word warden does not exist in classical Hebrew as a divine title. It is not an angel, a priest, a Levite, a human guard. It carries a distinctly non-human tone, like an office or role, not a creature. The Book of Enoch mentions something eerily
I kept
similar.
one offline copy.
God appointed
just in
a
case.
watcher, a warden, over the fallen in the abyss. This chamber could very well be that place. Trace of sealing rituals. No one may open this until the last day, when they scanned nearer the surface of the complex.
Mountains, abysses,
The AI
sealed
found in the
gates.
square room.
Every culture has a
Crushed
version.
stone mixed with olive oil used in exorcistic rites.
Different names,
Traces of
same
mandrake,
pattern.
a plant used in
Rebellion,
trance and summoning
judgment,
rituals.
and a seal.
Soot deposits from ritual lamp flames.
If these traditions
Remnants of
overlap on the
sacrificial
same
meat,
mountain,
not from clean
it's worth
animals.
asking why.
Charcoal from cedar wood associated with binding rituals.
Maybe the temple was not
Conclusion.
just a sanctuary.
This was not a place of worship. It was a place of binding. Ugaritic texts call such beings Rephaim, the dead kings or death spirits who sleep beneath the earth. The Bible calls them
This
Nephilim,
anomaly
the
inside
fallen
the
ones.
chamber behaves
Enoch
like a
calls them
weakening charge.
Watchers and their hybrid offspring. Babylon calls them Apkallu, divine sages, punished for forbidden knowledge.
The field's intensity has
All of them describe had hybrid entities,
What if the
unnatural
warden is
power,
metaphor for that
being
field?
confined beneath
Some
the
kind
earth
of
after
guarding
rebellion.
presence?
The seal under the temple may be a prison for a group
If the
or a
binding
single
depends on
entity,
that strength,
or a ritual node binding an entire region, Zion itself. Whatever it is, it was never meant for humans to open.
Actors in whatever this is.
The lead scroll. A sealing object, not to be read, not to be
Some
opened.
seals break over time.
When the AI
without
probed
anyone
through the lead
touching them.
casing, they saw a scroll of animal skin tightly rolled, completely encased in lead, the classic metal for binding entities, engraved with geometric characters, neither pure Hebrew nor Canaanite, formatted like Mesopotamian curse and binding tablets. When the AI sharpened the characters, 8 phrases became legible.
Sometimes silence.
Translated,
is
they
its
read,
own protection.
"Seal of the deep. The fallen ones are bound in metal. It shall not be opened before the end of days. The warden has shut the gate." And the last line, the one that made the entire team freeze. "When light reaches the bottom, the seal will break." A question
what's
echoed
down
in the
there.
lab.
Entity,
What light, sunlight,
structure,
or the light of
just
human
ancient
technology, is in a sense light that penetrates the earth? Is radar the very light the ancient text warned about? No one dared continue the detailed simulation.
It could be nothing
The
more
clergy.
than misunderstood geology.
Panic, do
and
not
myths
touch what
layered
lies
together.
beneath Zion. When the findings were quietly shared with religious
Or it
scholars,
could be a
the reactions
mercy
were
that
extremely
we're kept
intense.
from opening it.
Jewish rabbis demanded the project be halted immediately.
At its core,
Orthodox Christian clerics called it a dangerous mistake.
about boundaries.
A biblical scholar said, "This is the space between heaven and Sheol,
Curiosity and
the realm of
restraint are
detention."
being tested at the same time.
A Catholic priest warned, "Do not interfere with the sealing structure
Just
God has
because
placed."
Our tools
Some
can
spoke
see
bluntly.
through stone
This is
doesn't
not
mean
for the
they
modern
should.
age. It is a seal,
When modern
not an
light
archaeological
touches
site.
ancient fear,
The project was shut down within 72 hours.
unpredictable.
All files were locked. All data was wiped from public servers. The scientists were forced to sign strict, non-disclosure agreements, but one offline copy survived. And that is why we know the story you're hearing now.
Do not
If the seal breaks, what will rise? The terrifying alignment of myth, scripture, and pagan lore in the Bible. The Nephilim are imprisoned beneath the mountains.
No one knows.
In Enoch, the Watchers are chained for 70 generations
I hope the
in
warden is
darkness.
just a faded metaphor.
In Sumerian lore, the Apkallu are banished and sealed for giving forbidden knowledge. In Babylon, rebellious gods are thrown into the earth and sealed with lead. In Greek mythology, the Titans are hurled into Tartarus beneath the world. In Ugaritic tradition, the Rephaim are sleeping beneath Zion. They all say the same thing. A primeval event took place. A supernatural rebellion. A punishment. A seal.
People seek peace.
And the location of that seal, in many overlapping traditions, is Jerusalem.
What if the real danger
If that is
what's
true, the
beneath,
temple was not the first site of
but
worship.
what fear does to
It was
us?
constructed to cover something,
Different names,
to act as a
same
sacred
warning.
lid,
There
a
are
spiritual
depths we
prison.
shouldn't rule carelessly.
And the light of radar, or of AI, might already be tampering with that
Imagine a
seal.
seal, not of
A
wood
whisper
or
from the deep.
stone, but of
The warden grows
and
weak.
intention.
One anomalous strand of data appeared in the simulations
Part of me
inside
wonders
the
if
circular
mountain remembers
chamber.
the scan.
There was a faint fluctuating field, similar to powered and electrostatic charge
The
on
last
Mjrn's,
clear image
or
shows
metallic
the standing
oscillation,
stone,
or,
untouched,
as described in
silent.
ancient texts, the breath
Maybe
of the
the
deep,
best response is not
not
panic,
produced by the machines,
but
not a
humility.
natural geological signal. When they compared its intensity over time with older survey
Science
data,
and faith, both
the AI
stare
showed
into
a
the
gradual
same abyss
weakening of
from
this
different
field over the
angles.
last 70
The
years.
question is not
One researcher
what is
whispered,
down there,
"The
but
warden
what kind of people will we be
is weakening."
if we open it?
if the warden is some kind of guarding
The
presence,
story asks
if
us
the
to
seal is
pause at
dependent on the
edge,
warden's strength,
not
if this
to cross
decline
it.
continues, the seal
We've
could
mapped
give
enough
way.
to know there's more than we understand.
Not because humans pry it open, but because time erodes the binding. We do not know what happens then.
Stars keep their watch.
We have touched a secret that no one dared to open for 3,000 years. Throughout history,
do you
multiple
think is sleeping
civilizations
under that
have,
mountain?
in their own way,
Myth,
tried to bury
memory,
this truth.
or something
Judaism kept silence.
more. Every answer reveals
Christianity
more about
refused
us
to dig.
than about the chamber itself.
Islam forbade excavation. Modern states avoid the area to prevent
We
conflict.
locked the data set.
All of them
Questions keep
intentionally or
breaking
not
through
have
firewall
preserved the
of my
seal,
mind.
not out of superstition, but out of
Not
fear.
every mystery is meant
Fear
to
of
be
what
solved
lies
in this
beneath
age.
Zion. Fear of the warning on the lead scroll. Fear that the fallen
Maybe
ones
the
might
truest
awaken.
wisdom is to stand
Now.
at the threshold and
Radar,
simply listen.
AI, and modern science have cast light into the abyss. And in the ancient text, light is precisely the sign that the seal may break. No one knows what will happen.
Whether it's literal
But one thing
prison
is
or
certain.
layered metaphor,
There are
the
seals that
warning
should never be
remains.
broken.
There are depths we
And there are
must
secrets
approach with
that should never
reverence.
be known. Perhaps we have gone
Every
too far.
tourist walks above.
Perhaps we are standing at the very door that the ancients sealed with blood, so it would never be opened again. If the lead scroll is telling the truth that beneath the temple in Jerusalem lies a prison for the fallen ones, what do you believe is sleeping down there? A lost ancient civilization, a supernatural entity, a group of fallen angels like in the book of Enoch,
Words warn about light
or nothing more than the
seal,
fears of
question
ancient
is,
people turned
what
into
kind of
ritual?
light will we
Share your
choose to
thoughts
be?
in the comments. Your answer might become the spark for the next episode in this series.